Hello, I want to show you how to build a mixed pallet load by CubeMaster API. Um, what I am trying to build today is the pallet load filled with multiple different sizes of item, as well as the different pallet sizes are optimized from the multiple pallet sizes. So I mean, when you provide multiple pallet sizes like um, different length, width, height, as well as different maximum height. So you may see these two pallets have a different dimension, different height, and different capacity as well. And then we want to put different items with different sizes, quantity, and weight too. And then you may understand the item need to be turned on a pallet. That's why we need orientation. So we want to put some limitation for certain direction for each item. CubeMaster is able to define the direction at the orientations. That means orientation number 1 looks like this. This is the direction the item is, and then it can be turned. And then the other directions are turning over or upside down. So it is up to you to permit some direction are not allowed or allowed. So this is telling the concept of orientation from CubeMaster online website, but everything is defined by the API. Okay, so this shipment will have this result. I mean, CubeMaster decided, okay, this shipment will be placed into 7 different pallets. So each pallet will have different load configuration. So this picture shows all the pallets built by CubeMaster API. The first pallet looks like almost full, and then another pallet looks the same because they were trying to maximize the pallet. And then pallet number 3 looks like differently because there are no more items to fill pallet number 1, number 2. That's why pallet number 3 looks like a little bit different. So if you see below, you're gonna see the other pallets which looks a little bit different, and then you're gonna see the last pallet shows less filled because of no more units to fill up. And then you may notice the last pallet has different pallet type because the GMA was the least pallet, the smallest pallet. So CubeMaster just picked up the smallest pallet to fill it with the rest of units after making the full pallet, which was number 1 to number 6. So this is how CubeMaster works for build the mixed pallet load. So I will just go back our CubeMaster API sandbox. So if you click the mixed pallet load sample, this is it. So this is the request file which define the shipment I explained here. So there are 2 pallet types and 4 units and the other rows. So those are included in here, just one JSON file. So it says title and description. And then we have cargoes, containers, rows. The cargoes include 4 items. And then each item, the first item has name, dimension. This is inches, but you may be noticed CubeMaster just converted to millimeters automatically because the settings is metric. So you will tell the API created the load in inches, but CubeMaster online is able to convert to the different unit of measures. Okay, anyway, so if I go back, we define 4 units which has different dimensions as well. And then you may understand the orientations. So all different sets of orientations are defined some definition. So all the definitions are listed in the documentation. So there are orientation number 1, orientation number 2, and then orientation. So you may understand this is orientation 12 is actually orientation 1 and 2, which defines this one and 2. So this is orientation 1, 2. And then you may see the other orientation values, but this is a very straightforwarding, and you can use one of them to define the orientation for each item. So if you put orientation O, that means you just allow all the orientations to this item. Okay. And then you may see the quantity, color, something like that. And then if you go to the containers, this is actually 2 different pallets. The first one was the name of GMA, and the size was 48 by 40, and the height of pallet was just 3 inches, but the maximum height allowed for filling was 89. And another pallet has different dimension, name, and height and maximum height. And then you can include some rule setting, but we are going to use bottom to top. This is a layer stacking for better to the pallet optimization. And then we are going to use mixed load because we are providing the different quantity for each item, which will be mixed together on a pallet. So if you press this button, this sends the request file to CubeMaster server, and then maybe CubeMaster server is busy to calculate, and then we got the result, and then we are able to see the response file at the right side, and then it shows everything is good, and then it shows the documentation, and then the summary, and it says everything was loaded without any leftover, and then the volume, weight, and then we can tell we have to have 7 pallets in this area. So the first one was number 1 Euro pallet, and then the load summary is 150 cargoes loaded. So this is exactly the same what we have seen here. So let's go to the this field, it will show better information. So it says what we have a 150. Okay, let's change to the English. Okay, so we have the same information. So 150, and then the weight was 3067.5. Like this. So yeah, this is how you to build this pallet load by using CubeMaster API, and then you can utilize the graphics which was included in the response JSON file, and then if you scroll down a little bit, you're gonna see a beautiful report link. So this is exactly the same report you can see on the CubeMaster Online. So there are a lot of summary, solution, loading instruction, placement, something like that. And then you may see there are the same report under this section. So let's see placement. Yeah, this is the report you can get through the link. Okay, so this is the short video how to build the mixed pallet load by using CubeMaster API and web services. And then I was Andrew Chang from Loading Solutions. Thanks for listening to this video. Bye bye.